Evening. So I'm assuming you're here tonight because you're wanting a healthy, resilient, safe and high-performing team. Is that correct? Including you personally as business owners? Fantastic. So you're in the right place. So for those of you working within small business, I'm sure many of you are grappling with how to create a high-performing team, how to create a safe workplace and ensure your employees are fit for work both physically and mentally, and how to attract and retain top talent and ultimately position your organisation as a great place to work. Well, investing in the health and wellness of your greatest asset, your people, can support you in achieving these goals. So it will enable you to reduce the costs of absenteeism, of injuries, of workers' compensation costs in your organisation. It will enable you to maintain a safe and healthy workforce, and it will enable you to improve workplace morale, engagement, and ultimately organisational performance. Now, many of you here tonight may perceive workplace wellness as a nice to have or a bit of fluff. Whereas in fact, research and certainly my experience suggests that for every $3 to $5 return for every dollar invested in employee wellbeing. Despite this, I still see organisations spending millions of dollars maintaining their equipment to ensure it doesn't break down, but fail to see the importance of investing in their human capital. And this is why I'm passionate about supporting organisations to bring out the best in their people and ultimately their bottom line. But frankly, as a small business owner with a long to-do list and probably lack of expertise, you might not still think it's viable for your business. But the good news is you can still develop a cost-effective wellness strategy without a big end-of-town budget. And in fact, there's never been a better time to future-proof your business. So firstly, what is workplace wellness? So when we talk about health and wellness within the workplace, I guess we're looking at three different areas of health management. We're looking at the area, obviously important area, of safety and the legislative and some of the core requirements that sit around that. And then we look at the area of managing in health. So when an employee does get injured or they're unwell, how as a supportive employer you can get them back to work in a timely fashion. But today we're going to be looking more upstream to the prevention of health management within the workplace. And this is the guiding framework that we use that is based on the World Health Organization approach. And it doesn't just centre on the individual, and let's be frank, at the end of the day, they need to take responsibility and ownership of their own health and well-being. But the reality is we spend a third of our life at work. And whilst work can have a very positive impact on our health and well-being, it can also have the very opposite effect. And there's a lot of factors that impact on the well-being of your employees on a day-to-day basis within your workplaces. So at a cultural level, what are the norms and values of the organisation? Are they supportive or not of an employee's well-being? Do you have a long hours working culture? Are you, the business owner, maybe the worst culprit? At an environmental level, how do you make those healthy choices the easy choices for your employees? Are you serving up the same high-fat, high-sugary morning teas for your staff team meetings when maybe you could be providing a healthier option? And also at a policy level, how can you integrate health and wellness into the DNA of your organisation so it becomes very much business as usual? So are you providing flexible working arrangements that help your employees with that balancing act of work and home? And Australian research shows that where that integrated approach is taken, that employees are much more likely to get involved in your health and wellness initiatives, but more importantly, it's much more likely to positively impact on health behaviour, and it's much more likely to reduce the risk of chronic disease of those employees within your workplace. Because at the end of the day, massages on Mondays won't make up for boring work, lousy leadership, and no career opportunities. And if you're not getting to the heart of the wellness matter, it's only ever going to be seen as a band-aid and your employees are going to see right through it. So there's no point having a Stress Buster seminar if you're not addressing that toxic workplace bullying culture that's happening within your workplace. So why do well employees equal a well organisation? So we know that healthy employees are productive and engaged employees. And in fact, Australian research tells us that healthy employees that have 2 health risk factors or less are 3 times more productive and have 9 times less sick leave compared to unhealthy employees who have 5 health risk factors or more. And consider this, the average Australian worker has 4 health risk factors. So some food for thought. So let's look at some of the flow on then and potential impact to your workplace by playing out some of these scenarios that might be existing in your workplace. You might have Jennifer, and she's been taking an increasing amount of sick days. She's appearing withdrawn at work. You suspect she might have an underlying mental health issue, but you're not quite sure how to broach that with her. 1 in 4 working Australians will be grappling with a mental health issue each year. That's 25% potentially of your workforce. And 1 in 2 of us will grapple with a mental health issue over our lifetime. Now, if you consider the cost of depression alone, so a worker with untreated depression within your workplace, Australian research suggests that equates to approximately $10,000 in lost productivity per year. So a significant impact and flow on. Or you might have 2 of your company's employees that have gone down with that bad case of flu that's circulating this season. Again, that's 25% of your workforce. And that not has impact just to the bottom line, but also to things such as customer satisfaction as well. Or you might have John who's working within your organisation, and his lack of physical conditioning and core stability has contributed to his manual handling injury, which has bumped up your workers' compensation costs again. Which begs the question, how much is poor health and wellbeing costing your organisation? And more critically, what's the cost of doing nothing? And I haven't even spoken about the most important asset yet of your business, the business owner. And having been married to a small business owner for nearly 2 decades now, I've seen firsthand the physical and emotional toll that running a small business can have on the individual on a day-to-day basis. So the long working hours, the inability to switch off, cash flow pressures, staffing dramas, a holiday, what's that? And for business owners, without health and wellness as a foundation, we can't fire on all cylinders. And as the late and great Stephen Covey, author of the iconic book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, has anyone read that book? Yeah, a lot nodding. So he talks about how we spend a lot of our time soaring, so to speak, trying to get the result and the outcome, but we don't take the time to really sharpen our soar, or in this case, really nurturing our physical, our emotional, our spiritual, our intellectual, our social wellbeing to really ensure that we get the best result possible. And this has flow-ons not just to our business, because if we haven't got that health and wellness foundation, it can lead to things like poor decision-making and burnout, etc. But it also has flow-ons to our family as well. And as the saying goes, often we spend our or sacrifice our health to gain wealth, and then we spend our wealth to regain our health. So there's a number of groups that have a vested interest, as you can see, in having healthy employees at work. So there's the government, and given we spend a third of our life at work, it's the ideal setting for preventative health initiatives. And there has been a lot of funding and initiatives in recent years to that fact. There's the employer, and I think as we've demonstrated, it's no longer a nice to have, it's a business imperative. And there's also the employee as well. They have access to on-site, convenient, accessible programs that are not just going to benefit themselves, but also the quality of life of their families as well. So it really is a win-win scenario. And there's some great advantages as well to rolling out workplace wellness within the small business setting. So you don't have to have a gymnasium with state-of-the-art equipment or an on-site cafe serving fancy salads. There's a lot you can do on a very cost-effective basis within this setting. And firstly, one of the advantages is, unlike a lot of large businesses, often you haven't got the bureaucracy. You can make decisions quickly, communication can happen more easily, and you can see change happen a lot faster within the organisation, and you get high levels of engagement and participation generally. And often, as we know, too, a lot of small businesses are family businesses. I think it's 70%, of small businesses are family businesses. And often they tend to care more for their employees. They see them as extended family members. And health and wellness issues are often more difficult to hide often as well. So what does that mean for your business? It means with a little creative thinking, you can easily develop a cost-effective strategy for your organisation. And we're just going to go through a bit of the how now with our top 10 tips. So firstly, determine what are the needs and interests of your employees so that where you're spending your precious time, money and resources are being spent in the right place and you're going to get the best bang for that wellness buck. Now for smaller organisations, that might be a matter of just sitting down with your employees and asking them. For larger organisations, it might be more sophisticated means such as a survey or conducting some health checks or maybe reviewing things like your injury data and seeing where some of those risks and opportunities lie. Secondly, nominate an employee to champion the strategy, a volunteer within your organisation. Now, ideally, this isn't Jill the gym junkie, but ideally maybe John, someone who's really respected by his teammates and can get people motivated and supported and encourage them and to get involved. And ideally that will also be formalised as part of their role as well, so it's not just run off the side of the desk. There's that commitment. Modify or extend your current organisational policies to demonstrate your commitment. So again, this might be putting flexible working arrangements in place so that if employees do want to go for a walk together at lunchtime, maybe they take an extended lunch and then work a bit later that day. A very simple example. Look at extending programs to family members as well where possible. Often they're the key health decision maker in a lot of households. They might be the one that does the grocery shopping or makes the appointments with the doctor and the dentist, etc. And often you can extend it to them at very little charge or very little effort additionally. Tap into free or low-cost community resources. There's some great government initiatives that are out there that are free. You can also tap into a lot of resources through a lot of the not-for-profits such as the Cancer Council, the local councils as well. Brisbane City Council have some great active and healthy park programs in which you can get involved. And there's also some great virtual online programs that are either very small charge or no cost that you can link into. Collaborate with other local businesses and organisations and potentially look at discounts on services. So chat with your local yoga studio, your local gymnasium, your health insurer, your local fruit shop. Can you negotiate some discounts for your employees? Also look at potentially partnering with a larger business that you might be in the same geographical vicinity. Potentially link into what they're doing or maybe even using their facilities for some of your own initiatives. Number 8, integrate wellness into existing company initiatives or day-to-day activities. So again, look at ways that you can make it business as usual. Maybe incorporating some health and wellness messaging into your toolbox talks. Or maybe instead of all sitting around at your normal meeting, having a standing meeting. I find they're often a lot faster as well when you have them as a standing meeting. Create a supportive wellness environment as well. So again, have you things such as simple bike racks for those employees that may want to ride to work as an example. Or change facilities where they might be able to change. Or other more low-cost initiatives that you can look at within the workplace. And look at subsidising activities or programs as well. So again, look at how you can provide incentives, whether it be monetary or otherwise, to get your staff engaged and involved. So an example of that might be subsidising registration for the Bridge to Brisbane, for example, where again that might be something you do together as a team. So a great team building exercise and family day out as well. So I hope those tips prove helpful, and hopefully we've convinced you today that when you put the smart thing with the wise thing, it's going to, sorry, I've got that wrong. When you put the right thing with the smart thing, it's going to equal the wise thing for your business. Thank you very much. Thank you.